Namaskar. President Putin has landed in India. In fact, very interestingly, as I started recording this show, President Putin just landed in India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in the airport to receive him. This time around, President Putin's visit is supposed to be historic. First and foremost is the last time President Putin came into India was on the 6th of December 2021 and today 4th of December 2025. So 4 years. He's coming to India after 4 years. That's one. Secondly, this time around, the situation is very different. The geopolitical situation is very different than then. Our relationship with United States is very different. Putin's relationship with Europe is very different, and Europe's reaction to Putin's visit to India is also quite surprising, to say the least. So all of this happening, lot of activities happening. So let's talk about this particular visit. Let's understand from Mr. K.P. Fabian, former ambassador and foreign relationship expert. Let's understand from him as to what exactly this particular visit holds for India. What exactly is India expecting out of this visit? What exactly is Russia expecting from India? And let's get right into the show and let's find out.
Putin wants to strengthen the defense relationship and he has a couple of things to offer. India wants more S-400. Putin is prepared also to give S-500. And also, we are looking for a advanced fighter jet, Su-57. Sukhoi 57 is good.
Yes.
Put it this way, the geopolitical waters have become quite tricky and treacherous. But India is navigating the waters rather skillfully as far as the great powers are concerned. So it is good for us to have these deals with Putin.
If I say that America is a bad trading partner, would you agree to me, sir?
I will say that certainly under Trump, America has become an unreliable, trading partner, a partner who doesn't adhere to global rules of commerce, rules and norms. So that way, but let me put it this way, this is under Trump. To my mind, Europe is naively putting pressure on India to put pressure on Modi to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. And you know that 3 ambassadors, UK, France and Germany, wrote that op-ed in Times of India. Did you read that?
Yes, I did. That would have been my next question to you anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that to my mind is undiplomatic. Problem is that Europeans have got it all wrong as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. They have such, Putinophobia, Russophobia. They have demonized Putin, saying that, unless he is stopped in Ukraine, tomorrow he will invade Poland, he will invade Finland, he will invade Moldova, Georgia and all that. This is absolutely unnecessary, unrealistic demonization. Sanctions against Russia have actually boomeranged. Russian economy is growing faster than German economy.
Yes.
European Union is in difficult situation. Ukraine is in a very serious situation. And I want to recall the words of Saint Augustine, 5th century, who said, don't stop fighting a war where you are losing. Don't fight an unwinnable war. Only thing is that Trump will realize better that his policy of putting tariffs on India and otherwise being unfriendly and being too friendly towards Pakistan has a cost, and that it is in his own interest to rectify that.
Sir, thank you so much for joining me. And sir, President Putin has landed in India. So let's first start with a very basic question, sir. What is the importance of this particular visit? Why is it so important to India?
Well, I personally think that you have a beeline with the Russians and you timed the commencement of our conversation with the arrival of President Putin at the airport.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is, of course, very important for Russia, for India, and the region, and for the rest of the world, because, well, I don't like to use that phrase, but as the media people will say, all the eyes are on India, on Delhi, on this diplomatic couple called Putin Modi.
Isn't the world's eye on India now? Because it seems to be very, very talked about event.
It is, because let's look at it this way. The Russians prepare their presidential visits very thoroughly. And so does India.
Yeah, we too have a teleprompter.
Yes, so does India. And this visit might, what shall I say, result in signing of many important agreements and considerable tete-a-tete conversation between the two. Putin will be briefing Putin will be briefing Modi about the latest on what's happening with Ukraine. We know that just before taking off from Russia, Putin made it very clear that he would take Donbass 10%, militarily or otherwise. So that is point number one, because this is the first time he is saying it publicly. We always knew that that is what he wanted. But now what he is saying that he will take it, well, militarily or at the negotiating table. So that is one. Secondly, Russia wants to, and India wants to, deepen their defense relationship. It is true that for the last 30 years, India has been diversifying the sources of supply. United States, France, and elsewhere. In fact, India is one of the biggest importers of weapons. If you look at the CIPRI book.
Yes.
Now, Putin wants to strengthen the defense relationship, and he has a couple of things to offer. India wants more S-400. Putin is prepared also to give S-500. And also, we are looking for a advanced fighter jet, Su-57. Sukhoi 57 is good.
Yes.
And then, of course, civil nuclear, Kodangulam, that. In fact, after 1, 2, 3, the agreement signed with the United States way back during the time of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh,
Yes.
Russia is the only country which has supplied a nuclear reactor which is working. And they want to expand it. Then, of course, they will talk about trade because, Putin knows that with American sanctions, a company like Indian Oil or, say, Hindustan Petroleum cannot import Russian oil because then they can not do any business in the American market. And in the real world, they won't be able to do any business in the Western world because American sanctions apply everywhere, except maybe China, except Russia, but otherwise. So that is there. But nevertheless, Putin will propose this, and I have a feeling, though I have no information, what the two countries should do if they are serious about raising their trade level. They say that to 100 billion by 2030, it's about 70 now. So it is not a very highly ambitious target. What they should do is that India should have a company which deals only with Russia, exports and imports from Russia. Now, such a company is not vulnerable to American sanctions because it is not doing any business with America
Correct.
or with the rest of the world.
Correct. Correct.
Similarly, Russia should have a company which deals only with India. That company should have nothing to do with the rest of the world, including America. So if such companies are formed, then it will be possible to do trading without getting bothered about American sanctions. Now, whether this will happen or not, I do not know. But this is one way of cutting the Gordian knot.
Now, we signed the defense framework with United States a couple of weeks back. Now, this defense deal of Sukhoi, isn't it quite strategic that there was a defense framework that we signed with US, and now Putin coming into India? How would you react to that?
I put it this way: the geopolitical waters have become quite tricky and treacherous. But India is navigating the waters rather skillfully as far as the great powers are concerned. So it is good for us to have these deals with Putin.
American defense deal has always been something that a lot of experts questioned, while Russia has been a consistent partner to India. Is that something that you will agree to, sir?
I should agree. And also, let us keep in mind that in terms of transfer of technology, Russia is less inhibited. Whereas Americans, they make promises. You know that HAL, Hindustan Aircraft Limited, the GE, General Electric, is supposed to give the machine and the engine. And they say that, we will, sort of 10% we will supply from America. 90% we can make here with you. Now, the point is that 10% is very crucial, So America is very tight-fisted when it comes to passing on technology, except with Israel. Israel has a, free ride.
If I say that America is a bad trading partner, would you agree to me, sir?
I will say that certainly under Trump, America has become an unreliable, trading partner, a partner who doesn't adhere to global rules of commerce, rules and norms. So that way, but let me put it this way, this is under Trump, but Trump, this too shall pass.
Why is Europe so upset with India? Why is Europe so upset with Putin's trip to India?
Okay, to my mind, Europe is naively putting pressure on India to put pressure on Modi to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. And you know that 3 ambassadors, UK, France, and Germany, wrote that op-ed in Times of India. Did you read that?
Yes, I did. That would have been my next question to you anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that to my mind is undiplomatic. I mean, where I would not have written such an op-ed. Of course, I would have written an op-ed, but to make, what shall I say, uncomplimentary references to the personality of Putin, that is not done in diplomacy. Diplomacy, there is always the imperative need for courtesy and good manners. I may disagree with you, but I do it agreeably. And I do it subtly if I want to contradict you. That the Europeans have got it wrong. But let's look at it, why they did it. They naively believe that Delhi will sort of yield to their pressure, which, as I say, naively believe. So let's leave it at that. But the fundamental problem is that Europeans have got it all wrong as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. They have such, what shall I say, Putinophobia, Russophobia. They have demonized Putin, saying that, unless he is stopped in Ukraine, tomorrow he will invade Poland, he will invade Finland, he will invade Moldova, Georgia, and all that. This is absolutely unnecessary, unrealistic demonization. And because they have demonized him, they believe that the only way to handle this matter is by imposing additional sanctions on Russia and taking their frozen reserves, deposits in Europe. Now, both these approaches are wrong because sanctions so far, the thing started in 2022. We are in 2025 and soon it will be 4 years. Sanctions against Russia have actually boomeranged. Russian economy is growing faster than German economy.
Yes.
European Union is in difficult situation. And regarding taking the frozen deposit, they are mainly in Belgium, and Belgium is opposed to it. Belgium is telling the EU, listen, either you give a loan to Ukraine, where all of us are involved, or you give us a formal contract that you will compensate us if there is a claim from Russia and we sort of incur other obligations. And European Union, they are not prepared to do it. So Ukraine is in a very serious situation. And I want to recall the words of Saint Augustine, 5th century, who said, don't stop fighting a war where you are losing.
Correct.
Don't fight an unwinnable war. So I told you earlier about what Putin has said about Donbass. He is determined to take it. So what is going to happen now? Of course, Zelensky also is in trouble within Ukraine. There are members of parliament going and meeting Trump in the White House, seeking his help in unseating Zelensky. And I have been in touch with some Ukrainians in Ukraine, and they say that they believe, right or wrong, that Zelensky has purchased real estate in Cyprus.
Oh.
He has got a lot of money. See,
Correct.
It is true that he has tolerated corruption on the part of people who are very, very close to him. Correct?
Correct.
And for so many years. So some Ukrainians think that he is also corrupt. In which case, one scenario is that Zelensky will be replaced and the new leadership will have to sign on the dotted line on a document prepared by Trump and Putin. Now, as regards the European Union, they have no role to play because Trump has marginalized them. And with the way they have been, with their demonization of Putin and all that, Putin naturally wants them marginalized. And they say that, they will have their troops in Ukraine. No way Russia is going to agree to it. What is called COW, Coalition of the Willing. Well, this cow is starving and will not be able to yield any milk.
Putin had come to India 2021, December 6th. And now he's coming. He's come on 2025, December 3rd, December 4th. Do we see a foreign policy shift here? Are we going back to our earlier days, which is going closer to Russia versus US and the West?
Yes and no. Now, Putin came to India in 2000, first visit. when Vajpayee was Prime Minister. Putin
Correct.
had
No,
just taken over
Correct.
as president, following Yeltsin. So
Correct.
what I'm trying to say that Putin has seen many Indian prime ministers
Correct.
and dealt with them. Now, your question, is there a change? Well, I'll put it this way. India's effort is to have good relations with all the great powers, meaning United States, Russia, and China. Now, with Russia, we have good relations and we are sort of in the process of making them stronger. With China, we have the border problem. And, Arunachal Pradesh, what happened, how they treated a lady, Indian citizen who was born in Arunachal Pradesh, how the Chinese. So we have a real problem with China as regards the border. Nevertheless, given the geopolitical situation, India has decided to restore good relations with China to the extent feasible. Because India also knows that beyond a limit, it cannot go further because of the border problem. Because, China considers not only Arunachal Pradesh, they say that Tibet has 5 fingers and Arunachal Pradesh is only one. Bhutan, Sikkim, Nepal, and all that. Okay, so that's a real problem. But nevertheless, it is in our interest, given the geopolitical situation now, to mend relations with China. But as I said, there is a limit. Now, as regards the United States, India is keen, and Trump, for his own reasons. Many of our commentators in the media say that, he imposed sanctions on India, additional 25%, because India is buying oil from Russia. Now, this is absolute nonsense. China is buying. Did he impose sanctions on China? No. European Union is buying. Did he impose sanctions on them? America itself is buying a lot. So it has nothing to do with our buying oil from Russia, but it has something to do with Trump is angry with Modi. He is upset. So that is the thing. And so let us see what happens. But my take is that India is doing a little tightrope walking, and I'm confident that Indian diplomacy can do that without falling.
So tell me, is India pitching Russia by inviting Putin here? Are we actually pitching them against each other?
No. I mean, we need stronger relations with Russia, and that is in our interest. We are not sending any message to anyone. Why should we send any message? And incidentally, as far as Trump is concerned, he has no problem if India strengthens its relations with Russia. Only thing is that if India buys more weapons from Russia, then Trump, who is the most enthusiastic salesperson for the military-industrial congressional complex, he will feel that, okay, now, that Su-57, well, maybe I could have supplied something else. You know what I mean? So that way, Trump might get upset. But otherwise, Trump has no problem, dealing with Putin. He himself deals with Putin.
I mean, isn't it ridiculous, sir? Because Trump has a problem if we buy oil. Trump has a problem if we buy weapons. Trump has if we were to go by Trump, then we should have everything, we should have, like you rightly said, there should be one company only dealing with United States. And that's how it is. Sir, I want to come back to Europe. Somewhere down the line, Europe is more aggressive when it comes to Putin than what Trump is, what United States is. Why exactly is that, sir? Is it because they are closer to Ukraine, or what exactly is the reason?
Well, as I explained earlier, Europeans have got it wrong.
Correct.
They don't understand the Ukraine war. They don't understand that, as we had discussed earlier, 1962, when the uh, missiles were put in Cuba, what happened? Kennedy did not say, oh, they can do it, that Cuba has its own liberty to choose its defense policy. Kennedy said, remove the missiles. And Kennedy and Khrushchev had the diplomatic maturity to discuss and resolve it. Whereas this generation, and especially Biden, who rejected Putin's request for diplomatic negotiations, and Europe also. As I said, Europe has got it mixed up. It has believes that Putin is going to attack them. No, Putin is going to attack Europe.
Us getting closer to Russia, will it have relationship impact on our relations with Europe and with United States?
I don't think so. The European Union is coming to us as a chief guest for the 26th of January. And with Trump, let us see. Sooner or later, the present impasse will be resolved.
Putin, if this visit is historic, this visit, has a lot to offer, will that make a difference?
I don't think so. Only thing is that Trump will realize better that his policy of putting tariffs on India and otherwise being unfriendly and being too friendly towards Pakistan has a cost, and that it is in his own interest to rectify that. But he might take a little time.
If we sign a defense deal with Putin, for instance, which is far bigger than what we are intending to sign with the United States, will that make an impact, sir?
No, there is a difference. With the United States, our defense deals is not only purchase, there is also interoperability and all that. We have signed. Even during Manmohan Singh's time, we have signed. And subsequently also. So the deals are different. With Russia, it is mainly question of purchase of weapons and technology. We don't sort of, do any deal about interoperability.
Let me move on to something else. This Tajikistan issue. We were not allowed to extend our airbase there. People say it is because of Russia and China's interference. What exactly happened there?
Well, I do not know whether we need anything in Tajikistan. After all, what are we going to do? Tell me. What is our interest in having an airbase there?
Sir, wouldn't it be convenient for us? Because, of course, you have Afghanistan there, you have China close by. So wouldn't that be kind of strategically important for us? Why would we have an airbase there otherwise, sir?
No, let me put it this way. Of course, there is some logic in saying that we have interest in that part of the world. But, frankly, between you and me, Russia and China consider that as their part of the world.
Correct.
Central Asia. Actually, SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Council Organization, is started in a different way. Russia and China and 2 or 3 Central Asian countries. You know what I mean? So,
correct.
Russia and China will consider India's having an airbase there as an unnecessary intrusion.
So, again, my point, therefore, is, would that be a topic of discussion this time?
I do not know, but I doubt it. Because we also know that, I shouldn't ask you for something if I know that you are going to say no to me.
Okay. Sir, I want to ask you an out of syllabus question, which I normally do. One question is out of syllabus as far as I am concerned. Think about LOP. Rahul Gandhi says that he has never been allowed to meet foreign delegates, or visiting dignitaries were not allowed to meet him. First and foremost, sir, I want to understand from you, as far as protocol is concerned, do foreign delegates come and meet leader of the opposition usually?
In a democracy, it is normal for foreign leaders to meet with the leader of the opposition. I do remember that when Sonia Gandhi was leader of the opposition, foreign leaders have met her. So it is a good practice.
Would that be therefore unfair that now foreign dignitaries, foreign leaders are not allowed to meet the leader of opposition?
Yeah, I don't think that's a good practice. Not
But
allowed.
what does that then talk about our democracy?
Well, there's always scope for improvement.
Okay, so let me ask you my last question, sir. What exactly are you expecting from this particular visit of President Putin?
A very successful visit, not only in terms of optics. You know, both countries have worked together to make the optics perfect. And you know that the Russian television, RT,
Yes,
is going to have a big office. They are going to have a big office in India. And tomorrow, I will be going to Mauritius Sheraton because they have got a function, and President Putin also will be there.
Oh, okay.
And this RT will be sort of inaugurated. You remember when the Ukraine war started, initially for a few days, I could not access RT because, you know, we had temporarily suspended their access.
Yes, yes.
Now, RT is coming here in a big way.
So that's good.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
I guess we are going closer to Russia, much more closer than what we were, at least for the last 2 decades.
I'll put it this way. No, Russia and India are getting closer. Both.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Russia and India are getting closer. It's not that India is getting closer. No, Russia and India are getting closer.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for talking to me.